Hey everybody, this is Kevin Hensel from Fit for Life, and I'm here to talk to you today about how to cure back pain in 10 minutes or less. Now the reason why most people get back pain is because of their postural imbalances, and usually that starts at their floor in their feet. Usually most people have flat feet, which creates a lot of imbalances throughout their ankle, their knee, and their hip. Creates a lot of tightness throughout their calf and the gastrocnemius. It creates a lot of tightness in their TFL and IT area. The second most common imbalance is a hip height imbalance. Most people have a right hip that's a little bit elevated and a little bit forward. That creates a lot of tightness and dominance on the right side of your oblique, and also a lot of weakness on the opposite side, on the left side. And probably the most common imbalance we see all the time with our clients is an exaggerated lumbar curve. So their curvature in their low back is a little bit more than it should, and it's called lordosis, and it creates a lot of tightness throughout the spinal erectors, which are the muscles on the side of the spine, creates a lot of weakness in your deeper core musculature, like your transverse abdominis, creates a lot of over-dominance and tightness in your quadriceps, and muscles in the front of your thigh, and also the muscles in the front of your hip, called your hip flexors, and it conversely creates a lot of weakness throughout your hamstrings and your gluteals, your gluteus maximus, and the upper butt cheek muscles, and your minimus and medius. So I'm going to go into it, get right started into the good stuff. And we have to combine some stretching and strengthening exercises. We stretch to get optimal joint range of motion, and then we strengthen to help keep everything where it should. Because if you just do one, it's not going to stay. So you got to do the complement of the two. So the first thing we're going to start with is the stretching, but we're going to start with myofascial release, because there's going to be lots of little muscular adhesions, which are kind of little knots that develop in these muscles because they've been tight for so long. So we kind of have to break them up like scar tissue. We're going to utilize a foam roller. I like to use a softball sometimes, but that's a little intense, and for just starting, this is a great place to get started. And you can pick these up at your sports authorities and Dick's. They're just about everywhere. We're going to start with just sitting basically on the roller, and because we're going to do our piriformis, which is kind of a deeper butt cheek muscle, it's underneath your gluteus maximus, we kind of have to cross your right ankle onto your left knee to kind of expose the right piriformis, and now we're just going to kind of roll it out a little bit. We're going to start from kind of like the lower butt cheek and kind of work our way up into the mid zone. You're going to have to rotate a little bit to the right or to the left. You can even go on your elbow for some more support and balance. And you can also hold here to give yourself even more balance. And you want to roll it out. You're looking for a spot that's tender. It's going to be, I hate to say painful, but it's going to be a little painful. So you're going to roll and be like, oh God, that's the most painful spot I can find. So I'm going to hold that for 30 seconds. Find it, hold it. You don't want to roll it out and keep rolling it, because then you can further irritate it. And once you roll it once, you're good. So you can just move, find another spot that might be a few inches away. And when you can't find any more, you're pretty good, and then you can switch up and do the other side as well. Now the next area we're going to hit is really similar to this area. It's called your gluteus minimus and medius, which is kind of your upper butt cheek. And what you can do to get that is you just straighten out that leg that was kind of crossed over, and now you're just rolling up on the upper butt cheek. You want to go from basically on the lower part of your low back, and then you want to go to your mid to lower butt cheek. In this one, because the fibers, there's so many different fiber directions, you're going to have to probably rotate a little forward on this one and a little bit back, and you're trying to find those little spots. You don't want to go into your low back, but it's going to be really close. You're going to be kind of right on the border there. So the upper butt cheek, right into the low back, right on the top of the hip, and you're going to rotate a little forward, a little back, find your spot, hold it for 30 seconds, switch sides, and just get the spot once. You can't keep doing it and doing it and doing it, because you can further irritate it. So the next spot we're going to hit is called your quadricep and also your hip flexor. So there's some common little spots we're going to kind of flip around a little bit. Now this can be pretty darn painful, so I want you to be really careful when you do this. We're kind of going to be on our side, and what we can do to take a little bit of pressure off is we can put our foot here, because this is going to be really painful, I hate to tell you. So we're going to hit the muscle on the top of our hip called our hip flexor, and then all the quadricep muscles too. So we're going to start at basically right just below the hip, and we're going to go to the knee. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to start here, we're going to roll, and this one, because there's so many muscles and fibers involved here, we're going to have to rotate quite a bit on this one. You're going to feel some things that are going to feel like road bumps, and that's kind of what you're looking for, the ones that hurt, and you're going to kind of search for ones that hurt the most, because if you spend too much time on every single little knot you have, you'll be here for hours. So you just want to find the worst one. So you can roll the whole length, rotate a little forward and back and go, oh God, I think that's the nastiest one. Hold it for 30 seconds, switch sides, and then once we get these two spots, we're pretty good. So we've got our quadricep, which is down in mid-thigh, and then we've got our hip flexor, front of the hip, we've got our piriformis, which is our deeper butt cheek muscle, and then we have our gluteus minimus and medius, which is kind of our upper butt cheek muscle. So now we're going to actually get into some stretching exercises, now that we've kind of loosened up the area a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of our little foam roller, Most of these we can do laying down. So the first one we're going to start with is called spinal rotation. And this is awesome because it's kind of like a little mini chiropractic adjustment. This is kind of similar to what they do when you're at the chiropractor. You might hear some snap, crackle, pops, which is kind of normal. And it's actually kind of good because it just means your spine's going back into place. So first what we're going to do is we're going to lay flat on our back, feet are on the floor, arms are straight out. I want you to cross your right knee over your left knee. And what we're going to do is simply just rotate to the left. Key here is keeping the right shoulder on the ground. You just don't want to let your legs come over. You want your knee to touch the floor, but if it doesn't, it's okay. If you feel your shoulder pop up, just come up, let your legs come up a little bit more so you're not pushing over so far. The key is the shoulder down. The key isn't the knee hitting the floor. And come up, then we switch. Cross left knee over the right knee. Arms are still straight out, and we just go to the other side. You can give a little bit of help with this hand to give it a little bit extra push, but remember, you don't want your shoulder to pop up. Keep that shoulder down. You want to hold each stretch for about 30 seconds. If you notice there's a tighter side, which is really common, if your right hip's a little elevated, your right side will be a little tighter. You can hold that side a little bit longer, so hold it for another 15 to 20 seconds, because if you're constantly stretching the same amount, the disparity between the two will always stay the same. So stretch a tighter side an extra 15 or 20 seconds, and you'll know right off the bat what I'm talking about. It's most likely going to be your right side a little tighter. The next area we're going to target is your piriformis. It's that kind of muscle we just rolled out with the foam roller. So key here is you can use a wall, or you can actually use a bench, or a stability ball. Doesn't matter. Don't even need those. So we're just going to have our foot right up here. We're going to cross our, basically in this case, we're going to be stretching out our left piriformis. So I'm going to put my left ankle on my right knee, and we're just going to grab and pull into our chest. If you can't pull in, it's okay. You can just keep your feet here, and you can actually just pull your knee in. I'm a little flexible, so I can go a little extra, so I'm going to actually put my hand through this hole I created with my leg, and we're just going to pull in from underneath the knee. You're going to stay nice and relaxed. As I pull in, you're going to feel a lot of tension in your left butt cheek. And we're good. We switch up. Now it's right ankle and left knee, and we just pull on in. Gently, you'll feel that tightness throughout the right gluteal area, and we hold. Good. The next one we're going to target is called your hip flexor. It's another really common tight area, but this one I kind of need to get into a lunge position, so I'm going to stretch out the front of my hip and my thigh here. So let me get into position. I use my little ball for some balance, and what we're going to do here is I want you to get into kind of like a little bit of a kneeling lunge position, and we're going to, the key here is keeping good upright posture and not arching your back. So you want your shoulders stacked over top your hips. If this is this might be a little bit too close. You want it to be out far, but not so far out you're already into an arch position. So maybe just about a 90-degree angle with the knee. Squeeze your butt cheeks tight when you do this to protect your low back and keep your low back flat. So we're going to lean forward. Everything comes forward. Don't go into the arch. So we tighten up the glutes. We're trying to feel the stretch throughout my left hip flexor, which is right in front of the left hip and thigh. Going to hold that for about 30 seconds, and then we switch up and get the other side. And remember, if there's a tighter side, hold that side for about another 15 to 20 seconds. It's not rocket science. You just want to hold it a little bit longer so you can even them all out. Now, the next area I want to get to is my quadricep. And this one I got to actually have to do standing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hop on up. I'm going to grab onto something stable so I don't kill myself and fall over. So basically we're going to be standing up nice and straight. I want you to grab your ankle with the same side arm. I want you to just keep your knees together. I want you to squeeze your butt cheeks tight together again, because that's going to help flatten your low back. You don't want to do this, and you don't want your back to get all arched again, so we squeeze our cheeks, go here, pull the knee backwards if you have that range of motion, and you want to hold. You're going to feel this right throughout the front of the thigh, from here to here. Start stretching our quadricep. Hold that for 30 seconds. If you're a righty, you're probably going to feel this more on the right side, so hold that side for another 15 to 20 seconds. We switch up, do the same exact thing for the other side. If you can't get that high, and this might be really uncomfortable for you to reach, you can have a chair, you can have an elevation, it could be a counter. So it's something you just put your foot right there. That might be all you need, depending on you, where you're starting at. There could be a lot of tension and tightness. This might be a good place to get started. You can put it on the back of a chair as well. Whatever is the best place for you to get started, and you can slowly progress. Now the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to go into our strengthening exercises. So here, we've kind of gotten everything all nice and loosened up and everything where it should be. So now I got to do some strengthening exercises to make sure it stays there.